What's up, family? My name is Synmia Rosine. I'm here with Cherry Bombe and Free People to show you how to make a vegan kimchi fried rice and a cucumber mint limeade for their Summer Supper Club series. I come to you as a mother, a plant and food alchemist, an herbalist, and founder of ASUN here in Los Angeles. ASUN is a place to assist us in our transformation through the vessel of nourishment. We will be offering things like dried herbs and tinctures, wound salves, tips and tricks and tools that will help us dive deeper into wholeness living in general. For me, plant medicine is the salvation. It's a place where I was able to discover self. It was a place where I was able to really see actual transformation. I was able to have a hand in my own health. And it's something that's right outside our doors. So it's not an overly complicated form of medicine or an overly complicated concept. I love this limeade recipe. First off, the inspiration comes from eating at plentiful Vietnamese restaurants. First, I would always look for the softest limes. You don't want a lot of bruising because you want to make sure the limes look nice and healthy, but soft, and then you can just like gently roll it out. I'm just gonna slice two whole limes per 1 cup. I like mine really sour. Let's juice this. This is an amazing recipe for summer because the whole drink is cooling. It has the sweet, which is cooling, a little Venus energy. The lime is cooling. The mint obviously is cooling, and cucumber is super cooling to the body. These are all medicinal ingredients that many of us just overlook as just like normal ingredients, but this is actually, your body loves this stuff. Try to get all the juice. I like the pulp. I'm not too picky about the pulp. Our lime in. We have our sugar, turbinado or brown sugar. I'll do 4 because I like it a little sweet. I'm just going to break this up just to wake up the herbs so it can release all of those volatile oils. You know, they usually stack the ice in there, which I don't mind because, you know, ice melts and it really dilutes the drink in a very subtle, sexy way, for lack of a better word. And, so I'm using Persian cucumbers. They are much more floral and fragrant. I grew up seeing my grandma and my aunt cut cucumbers like this. You just leave the skin a little bit. The skin has lots of tannins, so it is a little bit bitter, but I don't mind the bitterness. I feel like that really amplifies the taste. Yeah, I'm gonna just put these in because they're so teeny. And then if you want to get really fancy, you can like garnish with like a little bit of mint. Oh. There you go. So good. Kimchi fried rice is one of my favorite dishes. It's a traditional South Korean dish. I used to eat it as a kid growing up in the food courts in Koreatown. It's medicinal and traditional ingredients that I've sourced. It really gives you that wholeness feeling and you feel wholly nourished. It's one of my favorites. I'm so excited to share this with y'all. So the first thing we need to do is grab our kimchi. I'm gonna grab a bowl. When you buy your kimchi, or you using kimchi that you made, you still want to cut it into bite-sized pieces. So put some in a bowl. Always want to cover your kimchi. Because this is live bacteria, you don't want any other bacteria spoiling your fermented foods. I just Next, we'll start cutting our onion. You just want to mince, dice, roughly cut your onions. You're going to stir fry them anyway, so it doesn't have to be perfectly uniform and beautiful. And that's another thing about the cooking that I do. It's like, I tell people I'm not a chef. I'm just here to nourish and serve, you know? And I love this dish because no matter where you are on the cooking spectrum, it's still attainable for you. You know how to chop up onions, you know how to source out ginger, garlic, all those things are very simple, and you just use day-old rice. I mean, you couldn't get any simpler. Okay. All of our little scrap pieces, I like to save them and put them in our compost. I'm gonna put my onions in a bowl. So 1 small onion. For these carrots, I chose purple just because I love color. This is my best friend. Anytime you need to julienne any vegetable, a lot of folks like to do it by hand, which bravo to them. Me, I like to keep it real simple and quick. I do advise to just take your time because this is pretty dangerous. Nice fresh knob of ginger. So I'm just gonna cut it with the skin on. There's nothing wrong with that, and that's just enough. It's always nice to cut ginger with the grain instead of against it. You'll find it to be a little bit easier. And I'm not gonna sit up here and tell somebody how much garlic to put in their cooking because everybody has their own preference. And I just roughly cut them. It's not really that big of a deal. Again, it's like I'm not really worried about things being perfect. I like to add a little fresh green into my kimchi fried rice. You don't have to. People just have kimchi. But today they look so beautiful at the farmer's market. I want to add these little snap peas. So I'm just going to cut them a little bit so we're not eating whole peas. Tasty. And I'll probably do like a half cup. So we have our jalapenos. I'm going to take some of the seeds out. I like a little heat. It's okay. If you don't want heat, please feel free to de-seed. I'm gonna garnish this dish with some green onions, and I include both the white bit and the green bit. It's just, they're both two different vibes, right? So this is about roughly a cup of fresh shiitake mushrooms. So we have the Korean chili paste, gochujang. We have our soy sauce, and we have our kimchi juice, which is like, this is the bee's knees here. I'm gonna show you guys how to assemble all of this without making your rice soggy, because we do not like soggy fried rice. So we've got our kimchi juice. It's okay if it has a little bit of the sediment in there. I'll use this red chili paste, just like a heaping tablespoon. Our soy sauce, touch of sesame oil. We're going to end up garnishing the dish with the sesame oil as well as frying, like crisping the bottom of the kimchi fried rice with the sesame oil as well. So you can either use a whisk to do this, a spoon is fine. You just want to make sure that the chili paste is well mixed into the liquid. It's kind of like a thick brine almost. So last but not least, this is your day-old rice. I suggest day-old rice because you don't want rice that has a lot of moisture to it. If I'm actually preparing rice for this dish, I'll cook my rice and then I'll fluff it and let it sit on the counter for about 3 or 4 hours. You don't want to cover it right away because the condensation will then start to make your rice soggy. After it's cooled down completely, pop it in the fridge, and then you'll have like hard clumps like this, which is the perfect texture for fried rice, any kind of fried rice. And I think we're ready to head over to the grill. Normally, if I'm like making kimchi fried rice for friends or I'm hosting like a little dinner party, I really love the use of these little butter lettuce cups. It's just like a nice little refreshing bite-sized meal. It makes the rice a little less clunky. But obviously for my family with the kids, I normally just keep it in the cast iron and we just eat it family style at the table. So you're just gonna scoop maybe like a tablespoon. And we wanna make sure that we're getting all the crispy rice goodness at the bottom, because that's where really what makes the dish. So many beautiful colors. We're gonna do a little bit of green onions, tasty cilantro that we found at the farmer's market. This is definitely not a common variety. It's the Delfino variety of cilantro. And I like it because it, you know, sometimes cilantro leaves are a bit overbearing, especially in a dish, that this is like little tasty bites. Last but not least, we're doing some black sesame seeds. I love all of my food to be visually stimulating, and just the colors with the greens and the reds and the purple, topped with the black, it really, I don't know, it really represents earth. And then normally, if you're eating this family style, you would garnish with a tiny bit of sesame oil. There you go. Thank y'all so much for joining me in the kitchen today. I hope you really enjoy my take on this very traditional recipe. Please, please, please start consuming fermented foods, and yeah, just enjoy yourself in the kitchen. Don't take yourself too seriously. Take your nourishment seriously, but don't take cooking seriously.